A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, it is a period of noise giving way to silence. When a heavy metal drummer faces the prospect of severe hearing loss and the changes it will bring to his life, it is difficult for him to see anything other than the destruction of everything he has built over the last 4 years. And he will need to find a new stillness in silence in order for a future to be possible. Sound of Metal contains depictions of addiction, mental health crises, and discussions of acquiring and learning to live with a disability. Please proceed according to your needs and comfort level. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed therein are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of their employers. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today is Justin Frankley.
I'm trying to do hand signs, but it's an audio-only experience, so use your mind. Use the theater of the mind.
My partner, B. Dye.
This film fucked me up.
And Meredith Cook.
This is gonna ruin the tour.
You can't see what I'm doing, audience, because this is an audio medium. I feel really bad that we're doing this in a medium that deaf people cannot take advantage of, but I do have transcripts turned on, so maybe they're reading it. Hi, everybody.
Fuck, I just thought about that. Hi.
So we are here today to, in honor of Disability Pride Month, talk about Sound of Metal, starring Riz Ahmed and his big, beautiful brown eyes that can make me do anything. God damn.
This man can do anything.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal performance. Utterly heartbreaking.
I'm not sure. So the degree that this movie is, I'm not sure of the connection that we have for this particular movie.
Have you never seen Rogue One?
Yes, but my blinding hatred for what they did to Peter Cushing sort of blinds me to other things about that movie.
Riz Ahmed plays Bodhi Rook, the Imperial pilot who defected and then got his brain eaten by the squid owned by Forrest Whitaker.
He's the reason the Rogue One mission happened, basically.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
And those beautiful big brown eyes. I'm trying very hard not just to make this about me swooning over Riz Ahmed, who is so freaking pretty in this movie.
Yeah.
Those terrible tattoos and all.
Yeah.
Greetings, I am IER-60, the biggest knight in Star Wars connections. Point of intersection found. This is a degree 4. Riz Ahmed played Bodhi Rook in Rogue One. Additional Oscar material found. Sound of Metal won for Best Film Editing and Best Sound at the 93rd Academy Awards.
Was it you who was like, ugh, I wish it had been between him and Chadwick, or...
Yeah. I think the post I put was, if Chadwick Boseman hadn't already been robbed for the Oscar this season, Riz Ahmed would have been robbed for the Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
I am glad that this won Best Audio Mixing and Best Editing, though. It absolutely deserved it.
Oh, yeah. Sound design is phenomenal. I do think they chickened out a little bit at the end, but we are so far from that point.
Jumping a little bit ahead.
So, listeners, if you've never seen Sound of Metal, it is available on Amazon free with ads. I mean, yes, of course, boo Amazon, but legally, I cannot advocate for piracy. Legally, I cannot advocate for piracy. I can advocate that you take a visit to your local library.
Speaking of, when I was looking it up, it said that it is available on Canopy for some libraries. So
yeah, some libraries.
Check out your
Apparently the Boston Public Library is not one of them, which made me rather indignant because I actually know someone who worked on this movie. The casting director for the New England talent of this movie was actually the casting director of a musical I was cast in.
Oh, wow.
I still occasionally see posts from her about, I need extras or I need people to do a project like this. And I would love to do that. I cannot put in the PTO request. Life is hard.
Life is hard. The wonders of being an actor with a full-time job.
Yeah.
Although this movie is making me reconsider my position on living in an RV, because they made it look so cozy in this movie.
They really did. But that was like a nice trailer. Like, that was a nice bus. There are some crusty buses.
For the low price of $26,000, it can be yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, listeners, this is a hard movie to quip about.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting movie, though. So, Mer, were you watching it on Canopy?
I had to watch it through Amazon because it wasn't available in my region. However, I was watching it with headphones in, and I think that's honestly the best way to consume this because the audio design is so integral to the storytelling.
Yeah. What was interesting to me was I had the subtitles in because as we speak, listeners, my right ear has been clogged up for over 24 hours. I probably need to go, get my ears cleaned or some shit. But anyway, I had the subtitles on, and it was very interesting to me when they chose to subtitle versus not subtitle stuff, particularly where it came to the sign language. I'm like, shouldn't you be doing this? And then I realized, oh, they're not subtitling the signing until he can understand the signing. Oh.
Yeah,
I see what you did there, movie.
It's very clever. It's very clever.
Very clever.
They also do that later when he goes to France, most of it. When it's not important to the story, none of the French is captioned.
Which means this movie both made me want to go back to France again and made me mad about subtitling. I cannot abide speaking in language.
It's never good.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
I will say, so obviously there is closed captioning for hard of hearing and deaf folks that want to enjoy this movie. I was surprised that there was no ASL captioning. If you watch things on HBO Max, a lot of the bigger shows and some of the movies are now having full ASL captioning as well. So Barbie, The Pit, I know The Last of Us also has ASL captioning, so they have someone superimposed in the corner actually signing everything. I took ASL for a year, 6 years ago at this point, so I am not fluent in any way, shape, or form, but I was able to catch one or two things.
I am now really interested in... I have wanted to learn ASL for a long time. There has not been a class that has either worked with my schedule or my availability, but I did buy this TTRPG called Inspiriles, which is meant to incorporate both American and British Sign Language. It has options for both, and I've been meaning to learn how to play it, but it's just been sitting in my hard drive for 5 months now.
The home of many tabletop games.
Quite too many.
And just regular games on my computer. Jeez.
I watched this through Prime as well. I tried to find I know it came out on Criterion, and I wanted to know if they actually did have different stuff on the DVD at least, because the last time I did something that had Criterion, they didn't even have English closed captioning at all. So I was wondering if that for this movie, or if it was a more recent release, they would actually have something like that.
It really is fucking frustrating how much of a crapshoot it still is to get accessible media. And
at least one of the streaming services that I watch occasionally, Crunchyroll, they have a really weird, very broken subtitling. So if the audio track is in a different language, they'll have subtitles. However, if the audio track is in English, they won't, unless the text on screen isn't in English. You can, through your device, do closed captioning, but then it's not doing the stuff that's on screen. So if I'm watching something that rotates between the two of those a lot, I'll turn one on, then turn one off, and then just sort of try to jump between them as I felt relevant. It's very frustrating. I'm very Crunchyroll is not the best service in the world.
According to the Criterion Collection, they do have English subtitles available.
but no ASL.
Yeah. And it is important to note that ASL and English are two different languages. The syntax is different. The way that, of course it's different. It's so cool because it's a language that's in a 3D space, which sounds like duh, but I don't know if that made sense.
It does make sense. And it's also really interesting to kind of watch how Ruben is different in signing versus speaking. Like, he's a lot less energetic when he's just speaking, but there's something about him that comes alive when he is signing, especially with the kids. I loved the scene of him, like, racing through the alphabet in sign with another person. And then I was like, wait, is it a mirroring exercise? Because, like, it seems like they had, in the captioning, skipped over some of the letters, like they were trying to trip him up or something. But it was just a really cute moment.
Especially, I also love the scene of him connecting with that other kid who had trouble sitting still. And they were just playing with drumming on the metal slide and feeling the vibrations of it.
The sound of metal.
Literally the sound of metal.
Ha ha! They did the thing.
They did the thing.
But Tess.
Also, isn't it weird that the sign language sign for an R looks like an X, and an X looks like an R?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you gotta remember we're in Boston, so an X looks like an I, and an I looks like an X.
It probably has something to do with how the letters are, like, written. Because, like, X kind of has... You have to have the, like, wrist flick with it. So it kind of has the X.
Want to give it a pirate look?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. It wasn't relevant to the conversation, but I did get... So, like, getting your ASL name is, like, a big part of being welcomed to into the community. I technically have a sign name, but I don't know if the way I got it was kind of bullshit. But it is... This is the letter M, and it's this because I was constantly moving my glasses.
Oh, so it's kind of like how, like, nobody has a call sign that's actually cool. Like, no one calls you Iceman or Maverick. It's the one dumb thing you did, and then that's all you ever are. Yeah, it's something that's given to you in a loving jape way, so that's why Rubens was like, oh, he's just so wide-eyed. And so it was something with that. Could be worse. You could have been labeled Disney Princess Ruben.
For real?
Yeah.
Now I am not a metal head. I don't listen to it recreationally. Does anyone else in chat? Has anyone rate the music?
The closest I get to metal is doing a cover of Bring Me to Life at karaoke.
It's fairly accurate. I don't listen to a ton of metal, but I do listen to, like, Castle Rat, Green Lung, like a lot of metal bands here and there.
Yeah, the music didn't sound like inauthentic or anything, but it's also only a small, like, they don't really do music throughout the film. It's more of a thing that they're doing when it's still part, or he still feels it's part of its life, and then when it feels that it's robbed of him, it sort of leaves the film.
Yeah, so, like, the very first note I took is, like, is it just a staple of metal music that you can't understand what the fuck they're saying? Because in that opening scene, I could not tell a single thing Olivia Cooke was saying, and then I was more preoccupied with, girl, where are your eyebrows?
My first note, because she had no eyebrows, I was like, is that Mia Goth?
No, it's a pre-Alicent Olivia Cooke.
And she puts in a phenomenal performance of
With
this
bleached
piece, by the
eyebrows.
way. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's indicative of all metal, certainly, but certainly the kind of metal that they're doing, because they're being artsy about it, right? So it's like they're trying to be experimental about what they're doing. So that's part of the reason why I don't know why experimental always translates to fighting with the background noise of the instruments, but that's it's a stylistic choice.
I have a love-hate relationship with stylistic choices because more often than not, stylistic choices lead to Jacqueline Duran winning an Oscar and me screaming about it.
My head is in the sand. What did Jacqueline Duran win an Oscar for?
Anna Karenina and Little Women.
Ah, yes.
But we're not here to talk about that. If you're interested in that, you can listen to Any Retelling's episode on Little Women or The Biggest Night in Podcasting's episode on Anna Karenina. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Jazz. Anyway, getting back to Sound of Metal, I really liked how this film, because when this film initially came out, I didn't end up seeing it, but since then, I have self-diagnosed as autistic. I have been loud and proud about the fact that I am autistic, but I really, really liked what the film had to say about building community and not being disability inspiration porn Like, it was a much more, I felt, frank look at, like, this is what it means to actually try and build a community of people who are dealing with the same kind of disability and the inaccessibility that the world creates.
I totally agree that, like, it does such a beautiful job of portraying the world of deaf communities and stuff. I also feel like its portrayal of addiction and recovery was also very resonant for me. I don't want to get too much into it. I have seen the inside of a lot of sober living communities, and especially that aspect felt very authentic. The fact that as soon as something went wrong, the first person he called was his sponsor felt very authentic. And I thought it was really interesting how the conversation shifted in the movie to later. Bill essentially said that Ruben was addicted to his hearing, and that's why he got his cochlear implants. And that was definitely one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the film.
Yeah, and Paul Raci as Joe is really, really good in this. Like, I think he was both a really interesting casting choice in terms of the fact that he is a coda. He's a child of deaf adults who grew up learning signs, so it's very natural for him. But it was also the fact that he seems like a very lovely person. He has a scary vibe to him when you first meet him, but he has a very nice voice, so that kind of puts it into an extra level of interesting because Ruben can't hear him. He just sees this scary motherfucker coming out with a dog the first time they meet.
Well, it's not a very threatening dog, to be honest.
That was a cute dog.
I want that dog.
I want to pet that dog.
I want to pet that dog.
Something I think the film does well is when I was in college as well, I also did, just for the language, I also did ASL. And then it occurred to me that I don't know any deaf people, so it sort of evaporated over the last decade. But there's how to phrase it best. There's an argument within the community about sort of what Ruben was going through. Like, Ruben is desperate to get his hearing back, and Joe is telling him, it's like, well, there isn't anything to fix necessarily, because, if you have a disability, that's not something that's wrong with you. And there's a lot of push and pull within the community because, that it is a space. It is a place that they can reinforce each other, but it is, in a sense, possible to, get some of the utility of being able to hear with a cochlear implant. And there's a disagreement about whether or not they should want to do that, or they should be something to strive for. Like, the problem Ruben was having was how to phrase it, how desperate he was to resolve this problem. And Joe is trying to show him that it isn't something that he needs to deal with in that way. The community is not meant to deal with the hearing loss. It's meant to deal with the mentality that your relationship with the disability.
Yeah, and I think a good subtextual current of it as well is the fact that so much of it ends up getting tied up in how Ruben perceives his relationship with Lou. Because we do get the confirmation Ruben is 4 years sober. How long has he been dating Lou? 4 years. And then it was very clear that the two of them had this codependency that they'd built up, and basically, in thinking he's going to lose her, he starts spiraling out and being like, what is the fastest way to get her back? Which is how we end up with, my dude, you are selling your house and your livelihood to do what?
It's an understandable impulse. I mean, he's a musician, and music is a very important part of his life. I mean, even beyond the fact that it's his job, we see him enjoying jazz. We see him, the relationship he has with his partner is through music. Audio is very important to him. And so it's completely understandable that he would want to have his hearing returned, but it's also leading him to overestimate or he's putting so much hope into this being a cure-all when, the doctors are pretty open with the fact that it's like, no, you're not going to get it back. It's It's an aid. It's not going to cure you. You're not getting it back.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how, especially in the film, how once he was like in the community and it seemed like everything been going well for a couple months, that's when, and when the conversation turned to your time here to what you're going to do next, where you're going to move to next, what's your job going to be, that's when he started to kind of regress into himself. And that's when he sold his the van. That's when he sold all of his stuff to get the surgery, because he was so scared of what the future would be, is what, or at least that was my interpretation of it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think that it was also like, that was part of the movie that actually kind of disappointed me, is that we didn't get to see a lot of the fallout from like what the rest of the community feels. Because I was really digging his relationship with Diane, played by Lauren Ridloff. Like, I didn't ship them or anything, but I really liked like the cute little dynamic they had going with them and the kids. And, you know, a part of me was like, I mean, I hope he goes back and he does become like a teacher with them or something, to, you know, tries to get back into the community and express the understanding of what he learned in Paris. But like, I get why that didn't happen, because I know that this is a journey about him.
Well, even with the last conversation we see him having with Joe, like he's going into that conversation, like trying to like almost convince himself that he doesn't need this. It's like, you know, when I'm gone, you know, things move forward, things change. And when I'm gone, that's that, you know, it's done. It's over. Like, what does that mean? Nothing. And so he's almost trying to convince himself that it doesn't matter that he is doing this, or that he's abandoning this place that has been giving him support for the last few months, because he feels that he has not found a way past it necessarily, but he's trying to like convince himself that he is beyond this, or like it won't matter. And so like he's just trying to reassure himself that this is the right choice.
I remember screaming when he was like, well, no one will care about me. I'm like, Joe cares about you. Everyone here cares about you, dummy.
Also in that conversation where Joe was like, you have to find the stillness in yourself. And that's what I hope you're looking for while you're journaling at 5:30 in the morning every day. And it was clear in that moment, at least, he still hadn't found that silence and that inner peace in himself. I think it was at least implied by the last few moments of the film that he was able to find that in himself, or find some sort of balance when he decided to take off the cochlear devices. But it's definitely up for interpretation. I feel like overall, the film at that certain point does start to feel a little bit aimless, of like, I don't really know where this is going, but that can be interpreted as intentional because Ruben doesn't really know where he's going.
I feel the ending ties into the, we never hear the character speak, but when he's talking to his sponsor and sort of like throwing his advice in his face because he's upset, he says, what was the thing? It was, serenity is when you stop wishing for a different past. And so, that statement tied in with the, those moments of silence, it's the kingdom of God, being able to find that serenity within yourself, that peace. I feel that the film does lean towards him being able to, at least in that moment, find that silence, that serenity.
Yeah, I feel like I almost wish I could go back and watch this again to double check, because I feel like maybe I was imagining it, but it felt like the score only really came in when he really started to embed himself in the community.
I honestly didn't even really notice the score. It felt like everything was diegetic.
Yeah, I could be completely misremembering. I've had a busy weekend, and I finished watching the movie like literally 5 minutes before we started recording. But I did take notes. I watched this like 3 days ago, so my memory is also very, very fuzzy. I did think it was really interesting looking at the behind the scenes of this film. Apparently for budgetary reasons, they could only afford and had the time to do 2 takes each for each shot, which that's a brutal schedule. But still,
the performances were phenomenal for being on such a short timeline.
Absolutely, especially when you consider that some of those 1 or 2 takes had to be with children.
Yeah, that's never easy. Like, holy shit. I didn't even know that until you guys just said it just now. So it's like, it's only 1 or 2 takes, and that's how the film turned out. And it's amazing, really.
I mean, the director, Darius Martyr, seems to have put, like, an obscene amount of effort into this. Like, apparently he spent 13 years vetting actors.
Oh, wow.
That would match the commitment to the film.
Damn.
Also, we dodged a fucking bullet because at one point Dakota Johnson was set to be in Lou's role. And, like, I'm sure Dakota Johnson's an okay person, but I cannot imagine her in this role.
Yeah, no, I can't picture her in this role. Especially not after, seeing the film. No. I don't think that would have worked well at all.
Yeah. I definitely can't see her getting anything in 2 takes. Which might also be part of why they went with 2 British actors. Because, in general, British actors are more often going to be moving more fluidly between, like, stage and TV and stuff. So they are better about getting it right on the first try.
They got that good Shakespeare training where they can look into the nuances of everything.
Oh, yeah.
This is why you don't sleep on the theater, kids. Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking more on the performances, and the behind-the-scenes stuff, Riz Ahmed apparently worked, when he was training for this film, did, like, 3 hours of drumming every day, 3 hours of ASL, 3 hours with a acting coach. Just that level of dedication.
Holy
and you can
shit.
All that good stuff that goes into an Oscar campaign.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was a little bit Oscar campaign stuff.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
there
not
is
at all.
absolutely nothing wrong with putting in the effort to your craft and wanting people to fucking see it.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I guess the father must really, really have a good script because Frank Langella also won for that role when it was on Broadway, so, like, fuck, man. And Anthony Hopkins was very nice about it, but still, goddamn.
The clips of the movie I keep seeing on my Instagram feed for some goddamn reason don't tell me it's a good movie.
Well, this was an odd year overall because,
COVID.
Well, yeah, COVID. So, like, this movie came out near it was a bit off about that. So it came out near the end of 2020, or was it 2019, right?
Criterion says 2019.
It would have been, like, on that cusp, because the Oscars got, like, slid around that year, and they were like, we're gonna have a wider window of eligibility and shit. But, yeah.
I've unfortunately not been able to watch most of the other movies that either won or were nominated for that year. It just wasn't a period of time that I was going to the movies much. But, just from these performances, or maybe it's a bit of bias just because of the problems of trying to incorporate, both regular acting and ASL. But, I honestly feel that Riz Ahmed and what was Paul? That was the name, right? Yes, Paul.
Paul Raci.
Paul Raci, definitely deserve a nom, but I almost feel bad that they didn't win, even though I know the person for a supporting actor, that was...
Daniel Kaluuya swept.
Right. So, it was sort of their year, so I can't really say that they're both deserving, let's put it that way.
Riz Ahmed did get an Oscar, like, a couple years later for a short film thing, but that's for another time. That's for another episode. I do pride myself on the fact that I've never seen it, but when the doctor made that reference of, like, I could turn it up to 11 and it wouldn't matter, I'm like, Spinal
it goes
Tap.
up to 11.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. Rob.
Just comparing this mentally for me, the only other Riz Ahmed performance I've seen is Nimona. And they're just... This, Bodhi Rook, and what's his fart's name in Nimona? Ballister are just entirely... Hey, he's a working actor and can be different people.
He
what a
has
concept.
the range.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck are we having him play Snape in an audiobook of Harry Potter?
God
fuck the Turf
damn it.
Wizard.
Well, he's
like
from
Riz.
Turf Island.
Riz, I get wanting to play a villain. I get that maybe you want to play a villain in something other than a Venom movie. This ain't it, kid.
Oh, not even close.
He does have a Hamlet.
Oh yeah, he's been Hamlet recently. Didn't that
Yeah,
Hamlet combine Ophelia and Mercutio?
Horatio.
God damn it! Someone take away my BFA. I'm sorry. All the names end in Ushio. It sucks.
We're taking away your BFA, but we're not giving back the money you spent on it.
No.
But yeah, he does like a one-take scene of To Be or Not to Be while he's driving in a car. And it's like, I am acting so fucking hard right now. And he kind of has moments like that in there too. It was also very funny for me, like, every so often, it was generally when he was saying fuck, I was like, oh, your British is slipping. Your British is slipping. I can hear it, Riz.
I was just talking with my friend about The Odyssey and how guy actors who want to prove that they're acting will get really, really loud. And it's like, I'm acting so hard, so I must be doing a good job. And I was thinking that just a little bit when he was destroying everything in the bus.
Yeah.
So the note I made for that was like, he'd be a better Kylo Ren than Kylo Ren.
I mean, I don't think it's. I don't feel his anger is overacted or anything like that.
It's not, but it's a specific pattern in actors that want to get a Best Actor Oscar, or specifically
Just
the strain of
communicating it in general.
Yeah, and specifically the strain of actors I was in a BFA program with that wanted to prove that they could hashtag act.
That thing where they want to prove it, so they have, like, the forehead vein bulging and the snot coming out of their nose, and they're, like, baring their teeth at you. Kind of in that same way where, like, you see Christian Bale and he is starving himself again for whatever goddamn role to be, like, fully method on this shit. You're like, God damn it, eat a sandwich. I think he's stopped doing that now, but there was a period of time when Christian Bale was, like, destroying his body on a regular basis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's the old line against method acting? Have you tried a thing called acting?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Olivier to Dustin Hoffman, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Again, tying into acting method as advertising for your Oscar.
I mean, I don't know that I would call what Riz Ahmed is doing that kind of thing. That's not method acting to me. That is prep. That is immersion. Method acting would be if Riz Ahmed walked around with noise-canceling headphones on, even in between takes, and would only communicate in ASL. Which, as I say, it sounds like some Daniel Day-Lewis ass shit.
Yeah.
Didn't Jared Leto,
Don't.
I'm not even going to finish that sentence. Listener, fill in your own Jared Leto thing here.
Whatever Jared Leto does, that's not method, that's just being an asshole.
Yeah, pretty much.
According to the background stuff that was there, while Riz Ahmed and Paul were, they both hear, and obviously Paul has a background with his parents are deaf. I guess most of the other cast members were deaf to some degree.
Yeah, Lauren Ridloff is pretty famously deaf. She played Makari in Chloe Zhao's Eternals, and they found, like, a lot of deaf actors to play the smaller roles, and, like, all the kid actors are deaf. They were working very hard to include the deaf community in making this film.
I love the friend that he made in the sober house and helped the whole thing with the tattoo.
The one that he drew the future tattoo for?
Yep. That was so...
Yeah.
That's a ride or die friend right there.
Mm-hmm.
It did make me want to watch Portrait of a Lady on Fire again.
I still have yet to see that. I should probably
Oh my god!
It's quite good.
Babe, it's so fucking gay. Like, you're not gonna believe it. You are gonna be losing your mind.
I'll definitely have to watch it soon then.
Yeah. You're gonna rate it 5 stars.
Yeah, probably. Knowing me.
Also, now I feel like a clown, because I pulled up IMDb just for the hell of it, and there is an IMDb fact that says, during scenes where Ruben is struggling to reconcile his hearing loss, Riz Ahmed wore auditory blockers deep inside his ear canal that emitted white noise. He told USA Today, I couldn't hear anything, including the sound of my own voice. After some time, he decided to forego the sound blockers and simply immerse himself in deaf culture by communicating with the director and deaf cast almost exclusively through ASL. So I guess he did go method.
There we go.
What I tell you.
Yep.
That's the egg on my face.
I would highly recommend, if you want to continue to immerse yourself in deaf culture, I would highly recommend watching the documentary Deaf President Now. That is currently on Apple TV. If you're looking for something to watch next, it is about Gallaudet University and how they did not have a president of the college that was deaf or hard of hearing until 1970, whatever, when this college was founded in the 1700s. And seeing the archive footage of this deaf community as it's growing to prominence, and then seeing how the interviewees after was really, really cool. And I believe it was co-directed by a deaf person. I need to double check my resources.
Also, if you're looking for a film that's roughly as uplifting and happy as this movie is, I can recommend A Silent Voice.
Any further context on what a silent voice is for those of us who might not know it?
It's an anime about a slice of life, you'd call it. So you have this kid, and he grew up bullying this deaf kid, and then as he grew older, he realized that doing that made him a real piece of shit, and he tries to reconcile that behavior and get to know this person more, and you have a growing friendship as the movie continues. Very good manga as well.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
And the ABC TV show Switched at Birth.
Oh.
I watched that religiously as a tween, and I can't remember a goddamn episode.
I think I remember, in the same way your Instagram is trying to show you clips of The Father, my Instagram definitely showed me, it was a clip of Switched at Birth where somebody was taking the SATs and she tried to have her phone kept with her because she was the emergency contact, and the proctor was being a dick about it and took the phone, and so the girl missed a call and she was the emergency contact for a deaf family member. Something like that. But yeah, I never watched it either.
Something I related to Ruben throughout the film is his friction with the therapeutic methods that Joe kept using with him, because he's been in recovery for 4 years, so he's used to I assume it's a 12-step program because he has a sponsor. But even some of the things that Joe is telling him would be things that you would typically see in a lot of different therapies, things like journaling, things like trying to find acceptance with the things that are, that's a big thing in a lot of AA or A equivalent philosophies, this whole serenity prayer aspect of it. And just seeing his frustration with trying to fix things, because we see early in the movie that he is very active. He wants to be able to proactively do things. And so being in the situation when there is legitimately nothing that he can do, and Joe trying to teach him to, accept that there's nothing here to fix. There's, you just need to be able to live with things that are. I could really relate to Ruben's frustration with this guidance, particularly with journaling.
I mean, all I could think was that would either be really helpful or really hurtful for my writing process. But then again, I am a very different kind of person, and I would probably also be very upset if it turned out that whatever's plugging up my right ear right now was the beginnings of me losing my hearing. So, who knows?
This is an emerging thought, so if it doesn't make sense, feel free to cut this. I relate to Ruben in the specific sense where you are constantly finding things to occupy your mind so that you aren't left alone with yourself. So you see that at the beginning where he's immediately up and doing push-ups and making green juice. And then immediately, as soon as this becomes a problem, okay, how do I fix this? How do I get to the next thing? And anytime that he is given the space to be alone with his thoughts, that's when he becomes the most self-destructive. And that's when he puts up so many walls and gets so defensive and is like, this is bullshit. This is stupid. I'm such an idiot. And it's when he finds community, and it's when he like finds connection with other people that kind of goes away. I feel like that's really interesting. And just, he's such a flawed but also deeply relatable character in that sense.
Well, even just engaging with the community is a way that he can direct his impulses. Like I can almost, like, they don't say as such, but I could imagine that, he's almost happy that they have tasks for people to do at this commune, or they, if they didn't ask him to, help teach the students, I can almost imagine that he would volunteer to do such a thing because it would give him
learn how to be deaf.
Yeah, his directive at first is learn how to be deaf, and as the process continues and he's learning how to be deaf, he is giving himself these different tasks. Like, did he volunteer to teach the kids how to drum, or like, different because they do have different therapies related to music, or just sort of feeling the rhythm for certain things like that. Like, the kid that couldn't stand still, one of the things that kept showing is like you would see him like laying on the floor, or like laying down, or like putting his ear to something that would vibrate so he would like feel it. And that's a somewhat common thing where, like, that's the closest thing they could feel the sound.
Potential blast from the past. How many of you are familiar with a little thing called Beethoven Lives Upstairs?
First I'm hearing of it.
Same here.
So Beethoven Lives Upstairs was this thing that was both a direct-to-video movie and a CD that had a story to go along with the music of Beethoven. In this case, it was a little boy who, his father died and his mother started renting out the house's upper floors, and Beethoven became their tenant. So, like, there's a scene that explains kind of how Beethoven went deaf and, why he takes the legs off the piano so that he can hear the vibrations. And I was thinking about that as they're doing, like, that scene of all the kids with their hands on the piano. It was really fun. There was Beethoven Lives Upstairs, there was a version of the Magic Flute, and there was this funny little mystery called Vivaldi's Ring of Mystery that was like total soap opera nonsense, and I loved it. But yeah, Beethoven was definitely on my mind at least a little bit.
I need to check that out. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, I do feel a bit of regret that, like, a lot of the music feels diegetic in the movie, and obviously they're dealing with deafness, so they wouldn't be able to appreciate music in the same way. But I almost feel that there's like an alternate line that this movie could have gone where, they try to find like not an equivalent to music necessarily, because it's a difficult thing to have an equivalency to, but a different way for him to express the kind of thing that he would do with music, like, whether it be drumming or whether it be something along those lines, to have an outlet, or maybe that could be something that he would pursue after the film ends. But it is interesting how little the music that he did sort of is involved in the movie after the first act. And obviously it's partly because he feels it's no longer a part of his life. He even says as such as like, have you done music? No, not since I've lost my hearing. So he sort of imagines it as being no longer a thing that he can have in his life. But then you have those little moments, like when he's teaching them drumming, or when he's playing with the kid on the sled, or the slide, where he is able to, do something with like a rhythm or like a syncopation.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I mean, I don't want to be super skeptical and be like, oh, well, I think that, the reason he was a metal drummer is because Sound of Metal, we have that double entendre thing. But apparently, when the movie was originally conceived, it was actually like based on a different film idea about a metal drummer going deaf. So, like, I get why they stuck with it.
Well, the Sound of Metal, like, obviously there's that entendre, there's the bit with the slide. There's also the noise that the cochlear implant sounds like. It sounds like grating metal. Like, it's very tinny. It's very the worst microphone you've ever heard in your fucking life.
Yeah, that was my one disappointed part, was like, I was like, commit to it sounding like that for the rest of the movie until he takes it out or he turns it off, cowards.
I was gonna go the opposite way. To further sing the praises of the audio mixing in this film, not obviously, but like, the film is very clever in the beginning how it plays with what is diegetically happening and what Ruben can hear. So you have those like stark contrasts where you hear everything is so loud and then it suddenly goes quiet. And then later in the film, especially in the scene where Lou is singing to her father at the piano, it goes from what the rest of the audience can hear, and then it just very slowly throughout the whole song transitions to what the cochlear implant can, like, hears it, essentially. And I found those later transitions to be way more like impressive and immersive than those like hard diegetic cuts, which I thought was really interesting.
B, you're our editor in residence. Do you want to arbitrate this?
I feel like I'm using diegetic wrong.
No, you're using it right, I think. But the sound editing and design is just top notch. Like, I'm still thinking about it, and it's been 2 hours since I watched it, and it's I can't even properly describe it because it's just magnificent how the sound was done for this.
Oscar winning for a reason.
Yeah, for me to try to describe it is a disservice to it.
Ironically, for an audio podcast, this is a hard movie to talk about. It's something that really is best to be seen and to be experience for yourself.
Yeah.
Especially in this one, because such a big component of it is that immersion into the audio. Which, again, rightfully winning it an Oscar, but there is another metric by which we must measure it now. Is the force with it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I think overall it definitely is. Like I kept writing, oh, I'm not gonna have a good time. Oh boy, oh geez, oh no, yikes. Basically, those were my whole notes when I wasn't like, oh, the audio's good. It is a hard watch, but I can't help but recommend it. It is so well crafted.
Yeah, I second that. It is a well crafted, beautifully shot, wonderfully designed film, and I recommend it at least once. You gotta see it.
And I would agree with that as well. It's very well put together film, and people can have their little quibbles. Like, I know some people were upset with cochlear implants can be that bad, but typically it's over the course of several weeks or months that you like refine it, or you try to like poke at it and your brain gets used to it. But just for the purposes of getting the story moving, you kind of keep it at where it's at. But there's only it's a very well told story. It's resonates with a lot of different strata, like the being deaf, issues with like sudden chronic illness, addiction, and I feel that it is about as well told as one could expect from such a thing.
All right, great. That makes it unanimous. Welcome back to the dark side, everybody. The force is with it.
Good.
I feel Joe could be a Jedi. It's I give him a bit of time. He definitely gives the whole sage advice, or that sort of sage air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see it. And there is a precedence for other people from the deaf community. Troy Kotzer actually created Tuscan Sign Language for The Mandalorian.
Oh, hell yeah.
We'll talk about it someday, but for now, who has pluggables?
You can find me on Letterboxd at Mer the Nerd. That's MERTHENERD. I have correct opinions, and I might have more coming soon. Ooh.
You can find me at dropsjupiter92.bsky. Whatever the fuck that thing. You can also find me on Letterboxd at btargaryen, all lowercase, one word, if you want to check out what I'm watching.
And my plug for this week is a cochlear implant.
It also is wild that those aren't covered under insurance. Thank you.
Right.
Apparently they are covered under insurance most times, but I'm willing to bet if they're living out of an Airstream, Ruben does not have the kind of insurance that's gonna cover those.
Probably not.
He's probably on, like, the shittiest possible regional one. Even going to get that assessment probably set him back a lot of cash. And in the spirit of Star Wars, to be there for the people who need us, this episode is spotlighting Deaf Yes, the Center for Deaf Empowerment and Recovery. Based in Worcester, Massachusetts, Deaf Yes provides mental health and addiction counseling services to deaf people in Massachusetts, while also researching and developing new methods to create deaf-accessible toolkits for therapy and recovery for mood and anxiety disorders, trauma exposure and addiction, and training healthcare providers on how to use these tools to better serve deaf patients. The link can be found in the description, as well as on my various socials at Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the two girls, one beat synth pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining Patreon. And now, it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to see where our journey takes us next.
That looks like a 4?
Yes.
It's a 4.
Back-to-back 4s, and oh boy, we spoke him into existence. Next time, please join us for Jordan Peele's Oscar-winning Get Out.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Get out.
Get out of here!
We'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the Force be with you.